You said that like this obsession with thinking in short-term metrics is killing good marketing, and we don't always get to choose the time horizon though when it comes to like leading marketing at startups or a bigger company. Like what should marketers do when leadership demands results this quarter? Like I feel like it's a bit like utopian to say that, like, and I agree with you 100%, but, being able to say, like, we should do both, like, we should educate the market, we should do brand investments, and not just demand gen and performance. But then, like, you meet with the CEO and, like, the metrics are red and the pressure is on, and it's all about short-term wins, and the turnover for a CMO is the shortest it's ever been right now. What pitches to CFOs don't work, and what language does when the CEO says things like, "Impressions and block views, like, don't pay
Mhm.
the bills." How do you counter that?
I love this question, and I think it's probably one of the reasons that I started, like, I
Nice.
sold the first company and started the second one, and I always had good conversations with CFOs, with leaders, and let me just go back to one thing that you mentioned. I think we do have a problem with brand marketers right now because we are having this paradigm shift towards being more scientific and data driven. And I think most of the brand marketers are trapped in a conceptual past,
Mhm.
wondering about purpose and concept. And those are important things, but you need to understand how to connect that to business results and to talk um, the business, like a business strategy, and understand how a business work. So I think that's the first part of you cannot address a CFO in a brand marketing language because they will go like, "What? I, I, I can't even like I can't guess. I don't know how to talk to you.
Mhm.
I don't know what like the vibe this color gives. I can't connect. So I think that's an important part of uh, important shift that we need to do in the market. And let me talk to you in a like as you were a CFO. I'll talk to you in a P&L perspective. I think that's the only perspective that, and I get cash flow. My first company, we didn't have any investment, like not investors. Now we have like the top VC firm in Brazil, but in the past, like it was a couple girls, couple MacBooks. That was the initial the seed
Yeah.
investment for my first company.
Bootstrapped, yeah.
Bootstrap, like literally.
Mhm.
So I get it. I mean, it's nice that we are talking about the long term, but we need to be alive in the long term.
Right. Exactly.
So how do we do it? All right. So, and I think there are two ways of addressing like two business philosophies. One of them is the ones that I don't need to convince because they already believe in branding. And I think they are more common in the US and Europe than in LATAM. And that's our philosophy here. We don't call to act our clients. We don't tell them. We don't use imperative. We don't go shop, buy, and stuff. But those guys already understand the importance of branding. I'm talking now to the ones that doesn't.
Mhm.
Uh, Marketing is a cost. Performance marketing is a cost, right? So you need to add this cost to every product and to every service that you sell. So if you need to pay Google or Facebook, Meta or TikTok or whatever, TV, broadcast, whatever, to every product that you sell, then you need this portion of your margin, of your cost structure to go to marketing channels. And that's how you think about performance. How much do I need to bring this customer on every time they come buy from us? Problem is, it reaches a ceiling. It will only get more expensive. That's called saturation.
Mhm.
And it's because you already sold to the most obvious customers. And now you need to reach a more distant audience. And You need to impact the same people again and again because you don't know who is in market for your product, right? Maybe the platform knows, but not really 100%, so it will only get more expensive. But you need to have it in your cost structure, the performance marketing. That goes into cost, I mean, economically a cost. It goes into each product. What if, alongside with the cost, we had some investment, like it's a different line of budget that goes into investment, that goes into decreasing these costs over time. So we will invest in things that generate themselves over time. So the larger a brand is, the more sales it gets. It's been proven
Mhm.
1,000 times in research. Because more purchase, more buyers generate more buyers. And a larger audience generates more audience. So that's organic, right? Uh, so what if we could create something that lasts in people's minds and that over time it will decrease our individual cost of marketing because it will generate a baseline of customers that come back to us. Call it branding, call it wherever. It's building stuff that decreases your cost and it
Mm.
goes into the, it's not a cost. It's a, how do you call it in English? Like it's an investment. It's an expense,
Right.
right? It's an expense that they say in English. Yeah. So that's it. All right, but we don't have money to do it. All right, would you give me 5% budget to test? 5%. I mean, every CFO agrees to a 5% budget testing into anything that will bring more immediate results. I'm talking about a month, couple weeks. That's it. So you should start doing branding to things that will generate immediate returns, and then you will expand your time horizon as you grow your audience, because then you're reaching people that buy less frequently from your category. So, yeah, so I think that's the way to think economically in a business way about how to invest in branding. It's not that let's do this huge campaign and spend all of
Mhm.
our budget in crafting a message that we don't even know if it works, if it connects with clients.
What's an example that you have in your head of like a 5% budget that's going to lead to returns in like a week or two or 1 month that's like a brand investment? Give us an example.
I can give you one that we did here.
Yeah, sure.
So we started a TikTok. We were the first B2B TikTok big account in Brazil, like big viral reach. The TikTok team used us as a use case multiple times.
Nice.
And so we had no budget because we are a tiny startup in Brazil. It's always about looking at the audience, at your clients. So we had this WhatsApp group. We always built community. It was always part of our marketing strategy. And they went on and on about using TikTok. It was a couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago. Yeah. So, and marketers were like, are you guys on TikTok? Because I need to run this campaign, but it's all about kids dancing and I don't really feel it. And I was like, they're all bored on TikTok during work hours. It's not a social network like to them because they don't have friends on TikTok and they don't get interesting content in Portuguese.
Mm.
So let me make videos about branding. And I started talking about how to drive results using branding. Now we have over 1 million views, 1 million likes, and almost 100,000 followers. And I'm a LinkedIn top voice and so on. So it grew bigger. But by the time we started doing videos on TikTok on my spare time and listening to listening, like reading the comments and talking to people and seeing how they would react to the content and make more of it, And then it grew from there. So it wasn't really a 5% budget, it was a 5% energy. Let's call
Right.
it like that. But I think it's like that. You need to observe how your client is buying and where they are at and what they value about you and about your brand. And then do this one channel, one thing, see how people respond, and then expand from there, and then pick a second one, and so on.
Very cool. I love the way that you break this down for a CFO instead of saying we need a 5% budget to do branding and we need branding involved in this because it's mind share, it's perception, it's going to help sales in the long run, if not like in the medium term. You're kind of flipping that script a little bit and saying, instead of calling it branding, let's just say there's this thing we can do that's going to reduce the cost of acquisition. It's going to reduce the cost of marketing in the medium term, and it can even happen in the short term. And I don't know, for a CFO, I feel like that's an interesting way to say it because as soon as you say branding, the perception is long term, hard to measure, won't see this in like 6 months, a year from now. So I like how you're saying this thing that we're gonna do, we don't need to call it branding, but it's gonna reduce CAC and it might have immediate returns on that. But like the TikTok example that you just gave, like were you seeing like results within 1 week of that? Like what was the CFO's first reaction like when you
Uh,
first did this?
yeah, we track through our product. We can see the time lag of returns, and some brand actions do happen immediately. Do have immediate or 1 week conversion time lag. But to this TikTok, I think it went viral like very early on, probably the second video, and then our sales rep started telling us that the leads were watching. And then we started having more leads. Well, oh, I think that's TikTok because that's the only thing that we did. I don't recall if it was like immediate, but
Hmm.
it was like before I gave up on
Hmm.
making.
That's always a strong signal when the sales team
Yeah,
says that it starts showing up in sales conversations.
it's qualitative branding, right?
Right.
Because before you can really measure, before you have a product like ours, it's reading the it's a bit of feeling, and that's what. At the same time, if you talk about numbers with the branding person, their brain shuts down.
Mhm.
And if you talk about concept and brand to a CFO, their brand shuts down. So that's the difficulty of this conversation.
Yeah.
And but they do know deep down, because I've seen CFOs go on and tell like, why don't we hire this influencer? They know it works, right? And sometimes they go, oh, I've listened to this podcast. It's Humans
Mm.
of Martech, and we should definitely sponsor that. Right? So they do think of branding actions sometimes. They get it. The problem is it's very hard to bet on something that you don't have data to back it up. And if you're only doing one thing, it's easier. But if you are somehow mid-sized to large company, you're doing all these things at the same time. And how would you commit to something if you can't measure? So that's why I think we do need like a unified measurement. That's part of our pivot from research, because we were measuring only branding. And I think the changing marketing needs a like unified model where
Mhm.
you can see everything.